I'm Professor Pi. Welcome to my daily mathematical adventures. Hey, don't forget me. I'm Cowboy Rufus. I'm your favorite student. The brain experts tell me that it takes about 7 times for something to stick in your head, either the spelling of a word or maybe a phone number. Many of you know a phone number from TV for maybe a lawyer you're never going to use, or for a drug company that you don't need, or basically for a car lot. They're famous for it. Car lots will say their number 6 or 7 times during the commercial. They're trying to indel it in your mind. What do you mean? So with that in mind, I've asked our classroom volunteer to come in, and he's going to spell this word 7 times. Hi, it's me. I don't know why, but he wants me to spell this here word 7 times. Sochcahtoa. 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 Sakatoa. Sochcahtoa. 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 Sakatoa. What do you mean it's not 7? He says I can't count. I need him one more. Sochcahtoa. Now he wants me to say his cute little rhyme he wrote. Some outhouses can always hide their offensive aroma. Some old outhouses can always hide their offensive aroma. One more time? Okay, whatever you want, Professor. Some outhouses can always hide their offensive aroma. I have no idea why he wants that done, but I done it. Today we're going to start trigonometry. Now, I teach trigonometry for half a year in analysis. We're not going to get that much. We're just going to get you enough trig that you can pass the ACT test. With that in mind, let's just start with the basics. This is trigonometric functions. G.SRT.C.5 and also B.4 and A.3. I can know the 3 basic trig functions. I can find the 6 trig ratios as they apply to the right triangle. The 3 basic trig functions are sine, cosine, and tangent. I've got 2 videos and a song here. The song might help you remember some of this stuff. If Cowboy's little trick didn't do it, I'm going to put my video right up here when we're done. Trigonometry is a branch of mathematics that studies the relationship between the sides and the lengths of an angles of a triangle in a unit circle. The field emerged in Greece about 400 years before the birth of Christ. Basically, the first applications were in astronomy charts. This is Chief Sakatoa. He might look familiar to you. He is the Haiti Indian mascot that can be found down in the trophy case. This is Chief Sakatoa, Sochcahtoa. He's the keeper of the arrows for his tribe. And if that doesn't help you remember, try this one. Some outhouses can always hide their offensive aroma. Some outhouses can always hide their offensive aroma. Some outhouses can always hide their offensive aroma. Now, what do those two things have to do? If you can spell SOHCAHTOA, you can get the three basic trig functions. 3 letters at a time. S-O-H, sine. Sine is, put your finger on this angle here, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Now, if you look around the room, you two are adjacent to each other. You touch each other. Those two desks are opposite. They're on opposite sides of the room. They are catty-cornered across from each other. So when we talk about this angle here, this is adjacent. This is opposite. The hypotenuse never changes. The hypotenuse, as you know, is across from right angle. SOH, sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So what do you think cosine stands for? What do you think AH is? It's not opposite. Yeah, it's adjacent. Adjacent. When you touch this angle, you are touching two lines. You are touching the hypotenuse and you are touching the adjacent. You can never touch the opposite if you're touching the angle. The opposite is all the way across the triangle. So we got sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And here we have tangent. Tangent is, you know what OA are, this is opposite over adjacent. Tangent of this angle would be opposite over adjacent. Now the sine, cosine, and tangent are expressed in fractions. We keep the fraction. We don't necessarily reduce it, and we never make 15 over 1 15. We keep it 15 over 1. It's a ratio. Sine, cosine, tangent. They are ratios. All right, sine is OH, and we want the sine of A. So you put your cursor or your finger on A, and you figure out where is adjacent, where is opposite, where is hypotenuse. In this case, with my cursor on A, you can see opposite is 3. The adjacent is 4, and the hypotenuse is 5. This is the basic 3, 4, 5 triangle. It's used about 12 times on the ACT test. So let's start here. Sine is OH. So in my triangle now, I not only don't have OH and AH, I have numbers for those. When I put my cursor on A, the sine is OH, 3 over 5. When I keep my cursor on A, and now I want adjacent over hypotenuse, that would be 4 over 5. Tangent of A. Tangent of A. Put my cursor on A, put your finger on A. A, we want opposite over adjacent. That would be 3 over 4. Now I'm moving my cursor up to sine B. My cursor's on B. Did the hypotenuse change? No, of course the hypotenuse didn't change. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. Did opposite and adjacent change? I told you when you put your cursor or your finger on an angle, you can only touch hypotenuse and adjacent. You cannot touch opposite. So now 3 is the adjacent and 4 is the opposite. So now when I go to B, can I find all 3 of these on B? You try it this time. I'm going to put my cursor on B. And B, sine of B is OH. You can see it up here. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, which would be 4 over 5. You're right. Now the cosine of B. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. When I'm touching B, adjacent's which number? That's right, it's 3. So the cosine of B would be 3 over 5. And tangent of B, when I put my cursor on B, tangent is opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent would be 4 over 3. Now, the sine and the cosine for our purposes will always be less than 1. Occasionally, the tangent can get over 1. And once again, we aren't going to reduce these. If it comes out 30 over 50, leave it 30 over 50. Yes, I know that you can reduce that to 3 over 5. But in trig, most of the time, if we're going to reconstruct a triangle, we don't need to simplify it, to reduce it. There are 3 more functions. I just want you to know there's 6, not 3. But right now, we're not going to worry about the 6 because you take the first function and turn it upside down. You take the second function, cosine, turn it upside down. You take the third function and turn it upside down. Once you learn the first 3, you can turn a fraction upside down. I know you can. Now, technically, in the Greek Olympics, these archers were, in archery contests, were using the words sine, cosine, and tangent. They didn't understand much of the trigonometry, but to the archers, cosine was a bullseye. Tangent was, it's on the edge of the target. That's what a tangent of a circle is, right? It touches the edge of a circle, but it doesn't cross the circle. So tangent was, I'm on the edge of the circle. Cosine was bullseye. And the Greek archers in the Olympics would yell sine when they missed the target. In the Greek New Testament, the word we call sign, don't say sin, but the word we call sign in the Greek New Testament is translated sin. Technically, in that we have a word called sin and a word called sign. They come from the same thing. In geometry, we use sign. It's not going to be sin of B, right? But think about what the word sin in the Bible means. The Greek New Testament thinks it means I missed the mark. Technically, sin means you missed the mark. Maybe that'll help you remember this. I have an assignment down on the bottom. Please get started. Find me the 3 hardest ones and we'll work them. What's your first test look like? Looks a whole lot like that equation right there. I might give you a 5, 12, 13 triangle. I might give you a 7, 24, 25 triangle, but I'm going to ask you to find me the sine, cosine, and tangent of A. I'm going to ask you to find me the sine, cosine, and tangent of angle B. I will actually ask you, what does sine equal? And you will tell me sine equals O over A. You'll tell me cosine equals A over H. And tangent is O over A. What do you mean I can't read? I just read it. Oh, they say I better do it again because I misread sine. Sine is O over H. Cosine is A over H. And tangent is O over A. That better? Okay, get started on that assignment. Thanks for watching another Professor Pi video. Yeah, y'all come back tomorrow. Cowboy Rufus and Professor Pi will teach you something new.